Welcome to the Community Engagement Initiative webinar series. My name is Robin McIver Brown, and I am happy to be the host for our webinar today. The Community Engagement Initiative is a 5-year effort intended to strengthen the systems of support by building the capacity of school districts to authentically engage one another. This includes identifying effective models of community engagement, building capacity of families and educators, as well as trusting relationships in order to have difficult conversations that focus on our students. For the past year, our work has focused on identifying effective models of community engagement that prevent 6 core root causes found to hinder authentic community engagement. Today is the first day of our 6-day webinar series, which has been designed to support districts from across the state by focusing on practices that directly address the 6 core root causes of ineffective community engagement. Today, we have 2 districts addressing core root cause number 1, the lack of belief that the system's success is critically dependent on its relationship with students and families. They will share how by developing strong partnerships with students, families, staff, and community partners, they have addressed this core root cause in order to support all students. I am happy to welcome Pajaro Valley Unified School District and Bakersfield City School District.
Thank you for introducing us. It is a pleasure to be here, and thank you for joining us today. We'd like to thank the Community Engagement Initiative for this opportunity, because my name is Dee Dee Harrison, and I am the Coordinator for Family and Community Engagement for the Bakersfield City School District. Joining me in today's presentation is Katanya Kimbrough Hubbard, and her role is as an Instructional Specialist in FACE. We appreciate you being here to hear how Bakersfield City School District and Pajaro Valley Unified School District approach the first root cause of student and family engagement. The root causes were developed from an analysis and support of the implementation of LCFF, particularly through the development of LCAPs across the state of California. Bakersfield City School District and Pajaro Valley will be sharing how we address root cause 1, which is the lack of belief that the system's success is critically dependent on its relationship with students and families. So as you can see, our session outcomes for today are to learn how Bakersfield City School District prioritizes our family and community engagement with our LCAP. We're going to identify some best practices for structures, strategies, and processes used to address this assigned root cause. And thirdly, we're going to learn about the systems that we implement to create authentic parent and family engagement. So we'd like to begin by sharing a brief video introducing a visual representation of Bakersfield City School District, or as we are more commonly referred to as BCSD. So let me begin by introducing you to some demographics about our district, and then we'll get right into some of the systems and structures that we implement to address the importance of establishing relationships with students and families. So the Bakersfield City School District is located in Kern County. It's a community historically known for its rich, oil, and fertile agricultural lands. And the county is home to 47 different school districts. And Bakersfield City School District is one of the largest elementary school districts in the county and is the largest K-8 in the state of California. We serve 29,328 students, which is a count of about 1,400 students less than the 2019-20 CBEDS counts, which are a reflection of the impact COVID-19 has on serving a student population with diverse needs. Our enrollment includes students grades pre-K through 8 of all ethnicities and languages. Our student population consists of 78% Hispanic, 9.4% white, 8.2% African American, and 1.7% two or more races. We have 90% of our families are socioeconomically disadvantaged, 27% are English learners, and 10.3% are students with disabilities. Our district is strongly committed to the recruitment of dedicated professionals who will support BCSD's overall mission of student success, and our values are equity, integrity, caring, collaboration, and personal and collective accountability. Our vision is to be the model of educational excellence, equity, and innovation, and our mission is to educate all students at the highest levels of academic excellence to become collaborative, creative, and critical thinkers. And down at the bottom, you can see we have some links that you can peruse later to visit our Google site as well as some of our websites. Our district goals are number 1, of course, academic achievement. Number 2, social emotional learning. And number 3, or we like to call our goal 3, is family and community engagement. And it represents really how our district is committed to the importance of parents and families working in collaboration with their child's school to really maximize the potential of academic success. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Katanya Kimbrough-Hubbard, who will share our district's core priorities.
Good morning. So along with BCSD's values, visions, and mission, our district operates under 4 encompassing core priorities. 1 being a culture of collective efficacy. 2, a culture of teaching and learning. 3, a culture of student-centered schools. 4, a culture of access and inclusion to ensure a multi-tiered system of support for all learners. We have melded these core priorities into FACE priorities, immersing parents and parent roles into each of these. We also have a blueprint for academic success. In our district, it is structured around 5 levers that fit together. Our 5th lever is family and community engagement. These levers act like a hand with 4 fingers and a thumb. FACE is the thumb. The other 4 can do their job, but they work best with the thumb. Next, here you have a picture of our, well, I'd say actually not everyone, but a part of our FACE team. Our FACE team is made up of our coordinator, one instructional specialist. We actually have 44 liaisons, 1 at each school site, and we have 5 district representatives.
So throughout our presentation, we will share the ways in which we really address the sub-causes of Route 1. And with the sub-cause being a lack of district prioritization of time and resources, this timeline really represents the transition that our district's parent involvement program and how it really has evolved into what is our current FACE department. So prior to 2014, the position of coordinator had not been developed. So really parent involvement was around Title I compliance, and mostly that was referring to the duty and responsibilities of our schools to ensure that parents were jointly included in the development of their parent involvement policy, their school parent compacts. And however, although parent involvement garnered support from our parents and goals were often met, we did not see the impact of student success in the same manner as we would with parent engagement. So therefore, our program did switch direction to then be named parent engagement. Then at the time, I was hired as a coordinator with the sole responsibility of opening up 10 regional parent centers and hiring the staff to work within those centers. The response from our families then at the time of the parent centers was indicating that they really wanted to have access to parent centers at their child's school instead of just at the 10 that we had regionally located across the district. So with the full support of our superintendent and our board of trustees, we currently now have 36 parent centers and a full-time FACE liaison at every school site. And we are completely dedicated to supporting the engagement and empowerment of our families. So in 2016 through 2018, then we did transition from parent engagement to family and community engagement, or as we call it, FACE. I was able to bring on an instructional specialist who really builds out the curriculum for our staff as well as our parents. We have our district FACE representatives, as Katanya mentioned, who really coach and support our liaisons out at the school site. And then we, of course, have our 36 parent centers and a FACE liaison at every campus. And then in 2020, everything kind of happened and the pandemic hit. So of course we had to shift to then virtual FACE. So we took all of our programs and put them onto a virtual platform to what we now refer to as virtual FACE. And based on our parent surveys, it will be something that we will continue even as we return to some type of normalcy. So I would like to kind of explain a bit about our FACE logic model. And it's a visual that represents how we lay out our inputs and our strategies to really achieve these positive outcomes and perceptions toward family engagement. Because we know that family engagement is a full, equal, and equitable partnership among families, educators, and community partners. And our superintendent and our board had a vision for what family engagement and how we needed to incorporate that across the district. And we used research-based decisions to encourage this to happen. And we put certain strategies into place. And so you'll see where we have district FACE representatives who work from our central location. And we really work to support our principals and administrators in leading a culture shift at their school sites. We do have our 44 FACE liaisons. We also build around programs that really give our parents a place and space to learn strategies on how to monitor academic success for their children. And all of our school sites offer parent cafes every single month, as well as quarterly family education nights. And along with that, the idea is that we are building out strategies to support the work and the process that our families really want to have positive outputs for their children. And so ultimately, we really want them to feel connected to their school site, with their teachers, and know that they have a shared responsibility for student success. And of course, the outcomes are what guide our purpose and family engagement to remain a top priority for our district. So also on this one, we want to address the sub-cause of seeing that there is not a connection between student outcomes and achievement. Our FACE team are trained on ARIES and Parent Square, and those are our parent portals for student academic success, and Parent Square being our communication process. We want to have communication platforms that keep parents informed and aware of when learning is happening and learning opportunities are available for them. As I mentioned, we have monthly parent cafes where our principals sit down with authentic conversations, parent university courses that teach our families about services that are available within our district, out at our school sites, and also within our community. Our district's focus on SEL and research-based programs and services like Loving Solutions and Parent Project really help us lead to better behaviors at school, which in turn will support student academic success. Because we believe that working with the whole family allows for an in-depth understanding on academic content and allows for greater connectedness to the school for all stakeholders. So our Parents as Leaders program is focused on building the capacity to understand our parents' roles and the value they bring to their child's academic success. So this video really highlights how our parent leaders have grown in their ability to support students, their schools, each other, and the community. So let's watch a sample of some of our pals in action.
Thank you all for participating in our icebreaker. And again, Happy New Year. We're glad you're here.
PALS is giving me the tools to be able to do what I've done, my passion, this kindergarten table, so that I can provide information for the parents so that they can help their kids be successful in kindergarten. Because if they're successful in kindergarten, they'll be successful throughout their education.
PALS have done a lot for me. They encourage me to take that class for teacher assistant for preschool, and I'm finished because Paul's encouragement inspired me and made me confident with speaking more English. And I learned a lot about grammar and math and computers skills. I have more skills now. I have too many things to be so grateful because Paul teach me a lot.
Pals has done a lot for me. Previously, you always have concerns as a parent when it comes to your children's education. So being able to be involved with Pals helped me to be able to see that I'm getting the education I need to understand different changes that are going on, not only within the school site, but also in the district, and to help my children be able to adapt to those changes.
Me involucré en Pulse porque me invitaron a una reunión y la persona que me invitó y era compañera mía en la clase de inglés, me encantó cómo trataba de involucrarnos, cómo hablaba, cómo se expresaba de esto, de Pulse, y me gustó, empecé a involucrarme y vi que te empodera, que hace que tengas más conocimientos para que ayudes a otros papás y a tus hijos.
Our parents and leaders are written into our LCAP. They serve as an important role in our district, and we're super proud of them. So that was really just a small highlight of some of the great things that they do at their school sites for the district. As you noticed, there was a table with lots of clothes. They wanted to put together a backpack drive and clothing drive for our families, and I thought it was such a beautiful way to show parents helping and supporting each other. So another one of our programs that we're extremely proud of is our Parent University, which develops systems and structures that allow parents and families to register for a pathway that best meets their needs to support their students. So as you can see, we have different opportunities for our families. Maybe they need help with math, literacy. We have support for our English learners. We offer financial literacy. We have health, mindfulness, toolbox trainings, health and wellness, technology. They choose which pathway they would like to take for that year. And we have those, you'll see the structures of Parent University, which we start off in September with a huge kickoff. And we invite all of our families and our district administrators and superintendent, and really just wrap our arms around them and say, we are here for you. We go over the structures of what Parent University is and what it looks like. And then in October, November, and January, we are introducing classes for them based on the pathway that they select. Also, in February and March. And then in April, we hold a really nice graduation to really celebrate their success. One of the features that we do provide for Parent University, and of course this was prior to COVID-19, but we would have breakfast and lunch provided for our students and for their parents. We'd offer free childcare. We'd offer free childcare for our special needs students. We would offer ACSL for our families that are hard of hearing. We'd have translation for our Spanish speakers. And it really became every feature that we found as a barrier for families, we would try to address and make it possible for them. I'd like to showcase a little bit about Parent University and the graduation and how our community and our district come together to celebrate our families.
The district does such a great job at giving us the tools that we need so that we can help our own children succeed.
This morning's event honors our parents from each of our 43 district schools who will be recognized and celebrated for your participation and completion of this year's program.
As a graduate headed towards commencement, I challenge you, each and every one of you, to go out and do great things in this world.
I earned this. I did this. I brought my kids to everyone. I've been attending. I came here. You know, I took my time. I wanted to be here. There was no option of staying home, not coming.
This clearly shows that in the last 2.5 years, we have made some great strides. This is the evidence of parent involvement here today, ladies and gentlemen. And today, we have a record-breaking number of graduates today. We have 403. Let's have those graduates stand up. All the graduates stand up.
Are we ready to go? Jennifer Arroyo, perfect attendance. Nalita Barrios. Flor Bustamante. Jose Bustamante. Nathaniel Coronado. Maria Cruz.
It was amazing. It was really nice. Just knowing that I've been acknowledged for my time and my commitment that I've been coming to the classes, and getting recognized that I've been coming.
As Parent University, it sets the tone for the children when they see that their parents are committed to lifelong learning, which makes stronger families, which makes us a stronger community.
I'm very excited and ecstatic, and especially all of the stuff that the district does in order for us just to feel this way and feel ecstatic and welcoming and warm, and then to have us celebrate this big is amazing.
In response to the sub-cause don't see importance of accountability to community, Bakersfield City School District draws support from community partnerships to increase services and resources to families. The FACE team acts as a conduit between the parents and our communities. And so those resources of the outside agencies are like Boys and Girls Club, or FIELD, which is the Farm Worker Institute of Education and Leadership Development, Dignity Health. And then our community organizations are like the Assistance League, or the Gleaners Food Bank, or Houchin's Blood Bank. We also believe that these services that we provide or connect our parents to will meet the needs of our families. In education, we often hear the statement Maslow's before Bloom's in regards to students, but that actually extends to the family as a whole. Examples of how we do this on this slide is the physiological. So we meet the physical needs through providing the resource or connecting the resource to the food bank. Safety. We do that with our FACE Walk, which allows parents to walk their child's campus and give immediate feedback directly to the administration on protocols and campus safety. We do this through the social, where the opportunity for parents to interact and bond around a common goal of empowering their school communities and their children doing well. We do that with the ESTEAM, where it comes to empowering parents' voice through advisory committees like our Superintendent Parent Advisory Council, our District African American Parent Advisory Council, and our District English Language Learners Advisory Council. Those are just a few. And we meet the need with the self-actualization. Parents have been empowered to represent their school and district at conferences as presenters, and they are often teachers at our own parent university or in our parent centers. Next, we have, in talking about the success is measured by efforts or not results, Bakersfield City School District guides decisions on parent feedback through surveys, evaluations, attendance, focus groups, and overall program performance data. So we know that metrics are a necessary evil in order to evaluate the effectiveness and justify our funding, right? So transparency and continually asking our parents to hold us accountable create conditions that give parents the freedom of voice to let us know what we're doing. So we do a lot of this through our using registration and sign-in, and using registration as a baseline to assess growth of parent involvement and retention in the program. Sign-ins at each individual session also helps us keep track of attendance and retention. We do that through the LCAP community form, which we have embedded in our parent university to maximize the feedback that the district can give. Parent University dedicates a Saturday each season to provide information from district admin with time for discussion, feedback, and input. As mentioned before, we do that through the face walks. We also do that through accountability sheets. The attendance records with outreach and engagement efforts recorded allow for ongoing monitoring of a school site and engagement. Also, when we look at the subcause of lack of understanding theory and research behind engagement, BCSD provides that by one of Bakersfield City School District's we are one of Bakersfield City School District's top 3 goals. We're consistent in communication and transparency. We reflect our commitment to nurturing positive relationships with our parents and our caregivers. And one of Bakersfield's goals is to be consistent with that communication. Studies have shown that parental involvement is associated with student outcomes such as lower dropout and truancy rates. We focus on nurturing the family unit by building the capacity and the self-efficacy of our parents as keys to their children's academic success through our PALs, our parent as leaders, our parent education sessions, the parent university, and through events like the one we put on for our father and our father figures. Here is an example of our father engagement expo.
It's important to set a good example for the kids to show them what you're supposed to do, especially as a father. Get up, go to work, provide for the family, and hopefully they follow in those steps.
And by you being here today, that is obviously clearly that each and every one of you care about your kids.
Kind of a call to action, right, for fathers and father figures to come out and do more, be present for their students.
You have to change the behavior if you want a different outcome.
Father Engagement Expo was the opportunity we engaged fathers and father figures for a night of inspiration, information, and fun for them to be more invested in their students' education.
Y'all having fun? Yeah! You enjoying the food? Yeah!
And then having all these dads here that I never thought dads would get recognized, and today we got recognized.
That's just it. I got recognized. My mind was blown. I've never seen this house this packed. It was just amazing.
The statistics show that when dads are more engaged, academic outcomes go up, behavior outcomes go up.
Go Dad! 100% all the way.
That was one of my favorite events. And I don't know if you noticed, but in the back, there was one of our delivery trucks served as a backdrop for the football game. So, we're looking at ways that we can really just encourage our families as a unit to come together. And so one of the greatest ways that we know to circumvent the lack of belief that a system's success is critically dependent on its relationships with students and families is really to have a preventive mindset and practice. And the mindset shift toward strengthening parent partnerships is the guiding factor in increasing communication to our families. So we do that by really bringing forth our FACE team into and all our stakeholders into hearing the message consistently together. So we provide a space for parent voice, to engage, equip, and empower parents to serve as advocates for their children. We also want to provide access to services and to support them all along the way. And we create opportunities for parents and staff to collaborate with authentic dialogue. And as Katanya mentioned, the FACE Culture, Climate, and Safety Walks is a chance for parents to join with their principal and administration and walk the campus and have conversations about what it is that parents perceive their school culture to feel like. This really provides an opportunity to have some preventive ideas and practices put into place. And it really is a great way to get families to feel a connectedness to the school and with their principal. We also have our multiple town hall meetings that were really prevalent during the COVID-19, really bringing parents together to hear what are the plans for the district, what are we trying to do to help get our students back in school, or making plans for what we're going to do to return our students back to campus. We have a return to school task force that includes teachers, administrators, parents. So we want to include our families in these conversations to happen so that they are all a part of the work. Also, our BCSD News provides parents, teachers, and administrators a real consistent message that keeps everyone in the loop of what's happening around the district, and really strengthen the connection of community, for which we really pride ourselves on. So we also have a family and community engagement newsletter that is in collaboration with our entire educational services newsletter. So this goes out to students, parents, teachers, administrators, and lets everyone know what our district is doing. So the video that we're going to show here is just a brief look at one of our BCSD news and how it provides parents as well as teachers and everyone, all stakeholders associated with Bakersfield City. Here was a video about what is it going to be like when we return our middle school kids to their campus.
Welcome to BCSD News. Here's a look at what's happening in the Bakersfield City School District, where children come first.
Good morning. Welcome back. You know where you're going?
As BCSD continues to gradually welcome students back to campus, this week, 7th grade students returned for in-person instruction.
I feel great because I finally get to meet at least some of my teachers. And it's the first time I'm actually ever stamping on this campus. So I'm really excited to just feel the Chipman spirit.
Our middle school and junior high classrooms once again coming to life.
I'm really excited because I've been waiting since quarantine started, and it's my first year here.
As schools focus on social and emotional learning to help students transition back into learning on campus, students say they are happy to be back.
I kind of feel great because, you know, we can actually come back to school and I could finally see my friends after like a year, haven't seen them.
Next week, BCSD will welcome 6th grade students who elected to return for in-person instruction back to campus on Monday, May 3rd.
So as you can see from the video, the idea is really that we can put this out on our social media accounts for families to view what it looks like, what it's going to, like how our staff is going to welcome back your students, what policies and protocols are going to be followed. So it's really nice. We offer these every Friday. They go out and they are also in English and in Spanish. So we're really excited about this new wave of communication for our families. So in closing, we really want to approach our priorities for next 3 years, and FACE will remain one of our top priorities for our district. As mentioned earlier, Bakersfield City School District's vision is to be a model of educational excellence, equity, and innovation. And we really thank you for this opportunity to share some of our best practices around the structures we implement in establishing and maintaining and restoring authentic relationships with students and their families, because we really do see the connection in student outcomes. One of the things that we're looking at is in our FACE program is really building up upon the SEL that our students are going to really need as they return to school after a pandemic. This is something no one was prepared for, and it is our work to partner with our schools and help our families feel safe and comfortable in bringing their students back to campus. We'll continue to build upon our parent cafes, our family engagement opportunities, our parent university. So these are some resources that we find value in and will continue to do to build these authentic relationships with students and families. And so our focus has been on pre-K through 8th grade. So at this time, we will now turn it over to our friends at Pajaro Valley Unified School District, who will carry us through how they approach Root Cause 1 and provide voice to students and families from pre-K through 12th grade. So take it away, Alicia.
Thank you, Bakersfield City School District, for leading this webinar and sharing such impactful practices. Welcome to Pajaro Valley Unified School District's webinar. I'm Alicia Jimenez, and I've been with Pajaro Valley Unified School District for 20 years. The composition of our team is a testimony of our determination to be inclusive in representation. We have district staff, parents, students, and community members that fortify our team. PVUSD serves over 17,000 students. 83% of our population is Hispanic or Latino, 14% white, and 3% identify as other races. 81% of our students fall under the poverty category, and 14% are without permanent housing. The Special Education Services Department, currently at 15%, sees an increase in the number of students needing support every year. Dr. Rodriguez will now speak about how district's resources and priorities effectively mitigate root cause number 1, lack of belief that the system's success is critically dependent on its relationships with students and families.
Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate that. So at PVUSD, we have since I got here about 5 years ago, we've really focused on transparent use of our funding. We want to make sure that what we say is our priorities is aligned with the resources. So we have a saying about educational equity that our time, attention, and resources are supportive of our most vulnerable students. And we believe that one of the main elements of that is contact with students. And so you'll see through our budget, we are the second largest employer in the county. We spend 87% of our salaries and benefits is what encompasses our budget. So for next year, we're going to have approximately a $300 million budget. And so 87% of that goes towards people who are directly with students. 8% is with services and operating costs, 4% books, and 1% capital costs. If you look over to the right, you'll see how that 2,469 staff is actually pans out. So 57% of the staff is certificated staff. So that would be your teachers, counselors, nurses, then 34% classified staff, 5% site management, and then we try to have as little as possible of overhead costs, and so we have 2% district certificated management. And so we really believe that we're infusing into the system our resources going directly to students. So we're talking about when throughout the pandemic, we had guiding principles that really helped us when we came to an impasse, when we came to a cognitive dissonance. What is it that we believe? And so we have continued moving forward with that work. So we have our new theme is PVUSD Cares, Whole Child, whole family, whole community. And so what does that really mean? Well, it's really based on these guiding principles. And so what you're going to hear today is really our actualization of our commitment for our equity agenda. And I won't read all of them, but what I will say, I'll take a few pieces out for you, is that one, we believe that if we are supporting the whole child, that we are supporting them intellectually, physically, and emotionally, making sure that they are nourished. We use that word specifically because we want to make sure that we're elevating and wrapping our arms around them and providing them those health needs that they have, because we want to remove wellness disparities and so racial inequities, and do so with culturally and linguistically responsive services. So for the root cause, number one that we are focusing on is this presumptive belief or lack of belief that the system's success is critically dependent on our relationships with students and staff and families. And so we say all the time here at PVUSD that together we can accomplish anything, and together we're stronger. So we look at that always, that synergistic movement, and how can we work with our community partners, with each other in order to really build those relationships with students and families. And so the root cause identified by CEI, some of the sub causes that were identified, you can see here. But it talks about the lack of prioritization of your time and resources. So we just covered that, right? So how do we spend our time and our resources? Sometimes people don't see a connection between what we're doing and student outcomes and achievement. Importance of accountability to community. So we are constantly putting out information. We call them one-sheeters, data sheets, to be able to hold ourselves accountable. Having a lack of understanding of theory and research behind engagement, and then your mindset and practices. So we're going to go into how we counter all those sub-causes within this presentation. And so what we have decided is that we really need to start this upcoming school year differently than we have in past years. So we want to dedicate time in order to really do time to engage and rebuild those relationships with students and families. So we are engaging in a 3-week restorative start. It's our ability to be able to really capitalize and put into action our theme for this year of PVUSD Cares. And so through stakeholder feedback, we did both regular Google surveys, and we also did thought exchanges. What we saw was that our parents, our families, our staff really said that we needed to make sure and implement new programs and new ways this upcoming school year. And so we're hoping that it will really positively impact, as I mentioned before, whole child, whole family, whole community. And so we have 6 anchoring strategies that I'm going to go over right now. So what we're doing is we are doing professional development with all of our staff and all of our community partners before school starts, so that we can also help heal the adults that work with our students. And then during the 6 weeks or the 3 weeks, we're going to be doing 6 anchor strategies. So 2 strategies each and every week. Those strategies will not only come as a toolkit for staff, but also a toolkit for our community partners and a toolkit for our parents. So our parents will also be doing these exact same strategies with their children at home that the children will be doing with staff during the school day. And you can see what the 6 strategies are. So these are the things that we are going to be doing, and we think actually address and counter the root causes and sub-causes that I just spoke about. So we're going to be doing honoring identity, creating positive relationships through belonging, how do you manage stress, develop empathy, making responsible decisions through agency, and cultivating mindfulness. So if you're wondering, well, I want a descriptor of each one of those anchor strategies, we will be releasing on Friday, we will be releasing our one-sheeter or infographic on the restorative start. So visit our website at pvusd.net if you'd like to get that one-sheeter and you want more descriptions on that. And so you might be thinking, okay, so they thought of this. She mentioned stakeholder input. She mentioned a Google survey. So what were those results? And so you can see here, we surveyed our parents and families and students on 4 different categories: health and safety, social emotional supports, academic supports, and communication. We're going to see in the next 2 slides 2 of those areas. So one was social emotional supports. And we thought this was really interesting. So we asked them what was the losses and changes that they experienced during COVID. Probably most of it is common to everyone's student population. So the first was 64%, so that they had a loss of important experiences. Loss of important relationships was 42%. We did have 18% that said a loss of a death of a loved one. So we are seeing and focusing on that bereavement and that grief support. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see some of the questions and the responses that we thought was really important and key to doing this restorative start. So if you look at it and you down here at the left and you say, how has COVID impacted your mental health and emotional functioning? We want you to note that 79% of our students said that it had mild to significant impact on them. And so that was something that we couldn't ignore. We had to make sure that we said, okay, even if we, need to go back to school and make sure that kids learn, what does that mean when we believe in the whole child? And so for us, it was taking a pause to do the restorative start. When you look at the middle, you'll see, well, but a lot of the kids and families are saying that their current system is supportive enough. But what I want to direct your attention to is that top 12%. So we have 12% of our students and families that say that they have no support at all. And so if they have no support, I always think of a line. So that would be for us, 2,000 students. If we had 2,000 students that lined up in front of one of our schools, could we support them? And the answer is no, we couldn't. And so we said we really have to build that tier 1, which is our restorative start, so that every single staff member, not just our social emotional counselors, not just our mental health clinicians can help support students, but every single staff member can support children. Because what we know is that the restorative start will impact academics, because social emotional needs impacts their needs. And so we did ask them what were some ongoing academic supports that they needed. You'll see that their number 1 was continued access to Chromebooks. And so we have had one-to-one for years, but we didn't have all of them take it home as much. And so we are going to be doing that. We're going to continue that, where kids are going to continue to take home their Chromebooks every single night. I want to note down at the bottom, since we're mostly talking about the social, emotional, and cultural support, is when we asked the students and families what was their top 3 most important culture and climate practices, they said peer-to-peer connection. So do activities that allow us to reconnect with our peers. Number 2, allow us to reconnect with staff, and that you consider and continue to consider physical and emotional safety. And so you'll see on the box on the right that we have established office surveys, because we really believe that one of the key things is not only transparent communication, but once you get that communication, you use it. And so we aligned many next steps to our survey feedback. and you'll see the things that we did. One is a restorative start that we've already talked about. The next is the launch of parent engagement and wellness centers and the hiring of additional staff. And so for the restorative start, again, going back to the concept that guiding principles are important to us. We want, when we have, whether it is a teacher, a janitor, a nurse, a healthcare assistant, we want everyone to know, why are we doing this? Why are we doing a restorative start? And what is it that we believe that is important? In the end of the day, it's not necessarily our objectives, it's the reason for it's the why, right? So why are we doing what we're doing? And you'll see our practices, our guiding principles here. I will really just focus on the third bullet at this point. And it's really ensuring that we use the identity, agency, and belonging framework through CASEL to really honor and uplift our student strengths, their social emotional needs, and their academic growth. So we really want to take a growth set mindset and also an asset framework in order to really honor and uplift our students, because we know if we provide holistic, inclusive, and equitable social emotional learning, that our students will flourish, and therefore our families will flourish and our communities will flourish as well. And so this is something that has been ongoing for quite some time. So we introduced our target for student success now about 4 years ago. Yes, that long ago, for about 4 years ago. And then we started talking about the whole child at our State of the District about 2 years ago. And so now what we have done is we've really expanded to looking at not only the whole child, but the whole family and the whole community, which we believe really links with our core values that you see at the bottom of the graphic here. But this has been something that we've been working on for a while. We did a 3-year education equity audit that you see on the top right. And we consistently work with our families in order to know what they think. So we've done Youth Truth Survey for the last 3 years, and you could see that we had 18,000 responses, almost 19,000 responses this past year. And so building towards the importance of that is here today. We have Rocio Camacho here to really celebrate our work together. And she is going to be providing you some perspective as our parent representative. She really is encouraging and a voice in moving the work forward around the whole child. So thank you, Rocio.
Thank you. In terms of supporting the whole child, at each level, PVUSD invests time, effort, and resources in programs and initiatives that support positive student outcomes. And we do this through the increased student connection at all levels, rigorous support for reclassification of English learners at all levels. At the preschool level, there are children and family centers, the step-by-step program, which is includes Footsteps to Brilliance, which is a bilingual early literacy app for access to supplemental literacy for our youngest learners. To support our elementary schools, there's a focus on SIPs, phonological instruction, and other fundamental literacy support. At the middle school level, there's a focus on literacy and mathematics acceleration through SIPs Plus, Big Ideas, MAP Accelerator, or ALEX programs. At the high school level, there is a focus on increased participation and engagement. They work to improve credit recovery opportunities, offer robust college and career pathway options, and increase graduation rates. And the established site and district wellness teams will continue to ensure student engagement. PVUSD's commitment to lifelong learning continues through the adult education school. So supporting the whole child for PVUSD schools includes access to technology, online tools and devices that promote student learning, access to mental health services that are appropriate for students at all levels, access to nutritious food and meals to ensure that they're ready to learn. And now Brenda Guzman, our parent education specialist, will now speak to the importance of supporting the whole family.
Thank you, Rocio. So part of supporting the whole child is supporting the whole family. The parent engagement team really implements practices that are integral in building trusting relationships with families and students. And we realize that delivering information to families that is accessible in their home language is really important. So to that end, we have increased personal outreach to our Mixteco speaking families, and we have provided Mixteco family nights. We have always been guided by the knowledge that our students live in 3 realms: the home, school, and community. And to that end, our newsletter to families has relevant and current information and resources. Throughout this past year, we continued with our virtual parent sessions that really focus on providing information to our parents and caregivers about how to support academic development at home, as well as nourish social and emotional well-being. And we really continue to offer opportunities for growth through authentic family engagement. We are currently focusing our parent leadership opportunities for the parents and caregivers of our most vulnerable students. Our PVUSD parent engagement team is really needs responsive, and we are determined to have systems in place that meet the needs of our families. Our website is being continually updated to ensure that resources and information are in sync with the needs of our students and families. And one of our most recent surveys that we did for the return to in-person instruction informed us of the need for centralized resources for mental health and wellness for parents. So, one place that they can go, they don't have to click on a whole lot of other things. And so we collaborated with the PVUSD counselors and our local NAMI chapter, and as a result, we now have a Google site dedicated to this need for our families. As we noted earlier, our survey also informed us of the need for centralized services for our families. To this end, PVUSD is currently working on establishing the first Parent Engagement and Wellness Center, and we are really excited about this. It will be located at one of our most centrally located schools, and it is really the intent to include our district services as well as community partner agencies that support the well-being of the entire family, and we want to really accomplish the following. Focus on the whole child to ensure each child is intellectually, physically, and emotionally nourished. Strengthen collaboration between health and education partners to enhance engagement and wellness. Nurture the family to reinforce growth and safety of the entire community. Remove wellness disparities to actualize our commitment to our equity agenda. Invest in providing wellness services for the whole child, whole family, whole community to support our most vulnerable. And our community of ecosystems is integral to supporting the needs of our families and community. So now we have Josue Barajas of the Second Harvest Food Bank who will address the whole community.
Gracias, Brenda. And so I was mentioned the ecosystem of support. Pajaro Valley Unified School District has held strong ties with community partners, especially this past year during the pandemic. As we all know, the pandemic really uncovered multitude of opportunities for the community partners to step up and be involved in education. One of these prime examples is the need of the partnership to address the digital divide within the students and within the community we serve. This continues to be an increasing engagement in bringing about equity and access. To put it into perspective, back in February of 2018, Pajaro Valley Unified School District, Digital Nest, Cruzio, City of Watsonville, Monterey Bay Economic Partnership, and the Pajaro Valley Chamber of Commerce came together to address the need for free internet access for our families. And with this great partnership came the result of our Watsonville City Plaza being a free internet zone in the community. This really highlights what can happen when we work together for a common mission. So Pajaro Valley Unified School District's inclusive process for informing programs and services is effective. They've thought of all of the ways possible to get their point across to every audience member whether it's students, whether it's families, or whether it's us as nonprofit organizations. Together, we keep on addressing the rising challenges. Again, I represent Second Harvest Food Bank, and our partnership has been instrumental in providing meals to the entire community. During the pandemic, Pajaro Valley Unified School District had 17 distribution sites that offered meals throughout the day. And we were very fortunate enough to be able to increase our distribution capacity by partnering up with their largest distributions and be able to participate at the same time as them. Additionally, through this partnership, we continue to expand our outreach efforts to introduce the CalFresh program to the communities. It is worth mentioning that CalFresh is the first line of defense, and the more people that we can get enrolled in this program and the more that we can educate our community on this, the more we'll be able to stop food insecurity and really provide the basic needs for our students in our communities. And with that being said, that concludes our Pajaro Valley Unified School District webinar. I want to thank you so much for having us share our best practices for you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pajaro Valley Unified School District and Bakersfield City School District, for sharing some of the effective community engagement practices you have in place to support students through authentic partnerships. Thank you for joining us today. We hope today's webinar supports you and your community engagement efforts. If you would like to learn more about our presenters today or the Community Engagement Initiative, please visit our website at californiaengage.org. My name is Robin McIver Brown, and I am happy to have been your host today.